Good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody to the August 12th, 2025 Hibbing Public Utilities Commission. All commissioners are present. We will call the meeting to order. Adds and deletes. Mr. Peterson, do you have any?
I have none.
Okay. I have one add. We are going to add, Andy, maybe you can guide me on where to add it, but we're going to appoint a new commission secretary today.
Let's do it under new business, and that individual then can execute. We'll maybe explain to Commissioner Babbage as to why we're doing it, but with respect to signing documents, potentially with the proof thing, as the secretary, we'd have someone else appointed to fill that role.
Perfect. And that was by Commissioner Babbage's request, so.
Yeah.
But I requested that because I don't think I can sign for muni bonds.
Right.
Perfect. Okay.
That's my
So we'll put it under new business then. Perfect. Okay. Move on. Item 3, approval of the minutes of the July 15th, 2025 commission meetings. This is the commission.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Stokes, support by Commissioner Sandsted. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 4, citizen forum. I don't have anything for citizen forum. I have one empty form. That's all I got. So moving on to consent agenda. Consent agenda item A, approve invoices greater than $10,000 and approve the bills and ACH transfers dated July 10th through August 6th, 2025. Item B, approve the payroll and paid overtime report for the July 24th and August 7th, 2025 pay dates. Item C, approve 2 linemen to attend MMUA overhead school. And item D, approve commissioners to attend September 19th Hibbing Public Utilities Organizational Strengthening Retreat. Wishes of the commission.
Make a motion to approve.
And I'll support.
Motion by Commissioner Stokes, support by Commissioner Sandsted. Any discussion? Sorry. Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to 6, financials and risk management. Item A, Mr. Peterson, approve July 25 interim financials.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you, Chair. Commissioners, ahead of you in the supplemental packet is the full financials. Also, just note because the meeting was early this month, we normally have our meeting on the 3rd, I think it's the 4th Tuesday of the month. Month end's usually on the 15th, so we didn't have a lot of time to get the interim in there, and so they're here for your review and to place on file. Obviously we are ahead of the game by reviewing and approving monthly financials, but just so you know, our operations are on track for the year financially speaking. With the 7 months ended July 31st, we have operating income of $1.3 million compared with $1.1 million at the same time period last year. Overall change in net position, which includes non-operating income from the utilities that I just reported, as well as additional grant proceeds, stands at $3.2 million versus $1.9 million at the same period last year. So we're up $1.3 million due to the increase in additional grant revenue we're taking in this year. So it's very helpful for the state legislature for those mineral article funds that we received last year. That's where all that's flowing through and going to fund the capital improvement projects that we have going on. So overall, we are where we thought we would be at this time of year, and we look forward to moving on. Also, additionally, as I reported yesterday in my email, the overall summary statistics. I don't know, Ron, if you had an opportunity to get the graphs up. Look at that. Ron, thank you for doing that. Overall debt ratio for the utility stands at about 7%, compared with industry averages of 27.5%. Current ratio of the utilities, which talks about our abilities to adequately pay our bills, stands at 5.2 versus industry average of 3.1. And our return on assets, which is our ability to make sure our assets are operating efficiently, is at 0%, or I'm sorry, 1%, which is below our expected, our industry target of 5%. So that's what we're working towards as we kind of grow into this. And overall, our current profit margin is at 8%, and as year-end approaches, we expect to be eating away at that as the higher cost summer construction months and increasing fuel costs coming up are expected to take a toll on our overall profit margin. But as you know, this is just an effort to start reporting in ways that are easier to understand our financial performance for the year. I'm happy to answer any questions, and note that very proud of the finance team for getting these reports out as soon as we did with the early meeting, noting that these are all interim until our audit is completed of the calendar year in the spring.
Thank you. Mr. Peterson, I know that tonight's meeting is scheduled earlier than our regular business meeting because of the conference coming up next week. We ended up getting this information pretty late to really like pour over it.
Yes.
We've not had very much time.
That's correct.
And I understand that, you know, with the meeting moved up, it didn't give as much time to the people who put these together. It's 12 days in. I'm assuming they probably had to go through the end of July for the financials.
Yes, Commissioner, if I could, typically we get invoices through like the 15th of the month for
Okay.
July, so those are usually reflected in the financials. And so we wrote these, I believe we got everything in the middle of last week, so large things like the Minnesota Power and the Connect invoice and things like that are really important for making sure, those are big numbers every
Yeah.
month, and so we want to make sure we have those in the financials.
So I would ask that if you are aware that there is going to be a timing issue like occurred this month with a big report coming due and the meeting getting moved up, instead of scheduling our meeting earlier in the month, maybe we could have bumped it back, just to give people time and then to give us time to, financials are important.
Sure.
That we have the time to really kind of digest them and ask the questions we want. So moving forward, not that we see these, you know, the big report every month, but if there is a timing situation like that, that we maybe err on the side of caution and go later than earlier. Thanks.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, Luke, we're still looking for a motion to approve the financials then? Wishes of the commission? And if nobody's comfortable with that, just to make it aware, we could table
Right.
it so we get a chance to look at them and then approve
right.
them next meeting if we want to do that
That's
instead.
just fine.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Okay? Do we need a formal motion to table that?
Motion to table.
I'll make the motion to table it.
Support.
Okay. Do we still need to vote that, Andy? I think it just goes, doesn't it?
It goes to a vote, no discussion.
Okay, perfect. Motion by Commissioner Bayless, supported by Commissioner Babich, to table approving the July 2025 interim financials. No discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Luke. Item 6B, approve 5-year service agreement and master agreement for natural gas supply with Connect Energy Incorporated. Luke?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Bayless, Commissioner Chair Bayless. The renewal is up for Connect. Connect has been our gas broker since 2021, I believe, and they've done a really good job working with us. Mr. Pombon and I met with them 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3, the summer's flown by, and kind of talked about gas planning for the year, and all things are going well. We have a new service agreement for you to approve, and anything over 5 years requires commission approval. This is a 5-year contract, so we wanted to just bring it forward to your attention. And the Andy, our Council Borland, has had a chance to review the contract, and there's a couple changes that we're recommending in the contract just to comport with our standard, which is moving jurisdictional law to Minnesota. So the contract that you see in your packet is not exactly as will be signed, but it is a form of the contract that we intend to sign with Connect, pending legal counsel review. So overall, happy to answer any questions that we have.
Commissioners? Any questions?
So what's different in the real contract?
It was primarily the, Andy, why don't you explain?
Commissioner Babich, so the venue for this agreement, if there was ever a dispute, the way the contract in front of you this evening states that would happen in Miami-Dade County, and it would be governed by the law of the state of Florida. I asked Luke that it be revised to say it'd be governed by the law of the state of Minnesota and be venued here in Hibbing, St. Louis County, Minnesota. That was the one primary choice. Luke, I just had a question. You mentioned 5 years. So when I looked at the agreement, it terminates in 2028, being 3 versus 5. So the agreement says 2028 as well. It was just your cover note I saw said 5. So I wasn't sure where the 5 came from.
That's what I recall as well. I wonder, Paul, do you have any insight in that? I don't mean, I think it is just a discrepancy in the actual form. We were told a 5-year contract, so that's why I expected. So we'll resolve that. But I believe it is, after following up with Paul, it is a 5-year contract.
Commissioner Babbage, the agreement in front of you says 3.
Yeah.
It says August 31st, I believe, of 2028. So just, I asked Luke that question too, because I read his cover note, and then I didn't see the match to 5 from there. So and maybe they need to correct that as well then to clarify, and maybe, Luke, you could just share with the commissioners then what the clarification is.
Absolutely.
Mr. Chairman? So that was my question. Why do we have to have a 5-year? Why can't we go with a 3-year?
Paul, do you recall? I believe we're actually on a 5-year right now. That's why we're just renewing it for the same term, but that's what I.
Good evening, Chair. Good evening, Commissioners. I believe their preference was just stability for the most part for the 5-year contract as opposed to 3. If it's your preference, we can always push back and go for a 3-year contract. It really isn't a huge difference on our end. I believe they just do it. It's easier for bookkeeping if we push it out to 5 years, then there's stability on both sides. We know who we're working with. They know who we're working with. We're not doing this again in 3 years. And I believe Mr. Peterson is right. We were on a 5-year contract. This one is due to expire this September.
Is there,
Mr.
go
Chair,
ahead.
yeah, so then my question is, if this contract, if their preference was 5 years, is it just probable that it's an error on their contract that they made it a 3?
From the meeting that we had in person with them, they had told us it was a 5-year, so I just assumed that it was a 5-year when we put it before the commission. I would believe it's a clerical error on their end.
And is it your recommendation that we stay with a 5-year? Or is there an advantage to moving towards a 3-year?
The only difference, if they raised rates on the contract, we'd be locked in for 5 years as opposed to 3. I've never seen rates get cheaper on any type of maintenance fee on a contract. I honestly don't have much of a preference. If we go with 3, I'm fine with that. If we go with 5, I'm also fine with that.
Paul, do we have what's the difference in the fee structure from this one to the last one? Are they,
The fee structure basically remains the same. The only big difference on there is we switched from a volumetric rate where they're charging us a certain amount per volume that they processed for us, as opposed to just going with a standard flat fee across every month. So that's easier in the budgeting where we're not going up and down. We can just budget an exact amount on there.
okay. Nothing else? Looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Hart,
A 5 or a 3?
5. They've done a good job. I mean, I gotta believe the farther they can look into the future and know their customers, I think the better when it comes to gas trading.
yeah, I'll support the motion and then open discussion.
So I guess my question would be is, even though I really don't know how the service fee, the service fee right now is $26.75 per month. Is that gonna stay the same? Cause this contract was made in a 3-year contract. So are they gonna increase that? Are they gonna lower it? I mean, you know what I mean? Like just because they gave us a 3-year contract, are the numbers representing 3 years versus 5 years? Do we know the answer to that question?
Yeah, so I don't see anything that adds fee after the first year, correct?
No, I
There's
did
no
not see
inflator, and in that language in here, it does say that it will automatically renew this contract for successive 1-year terms after even the 3-year, it says it in that same section, so we would essentially get the same contract unless we go back, if I'm reading that correctly.
Correct. Yes, most contracts will extend for another year if you don't cancel within a certain time frame on there.
And
So-
that is in here, so if they have that same paragraph in the real cover page, then that would probably carry through there too. So, Any other discussion? We have a motion and a second for approving a 5-year. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul. Okay, item 6C, approve final pay application and change order for Mindview Water Extension to Bogalis Incorporated in the amount of $184,074. Mr. Peterson.
Thank you, Chair Bayless. Commissioners, you're well aware of the Mindview water line main extension that we did so that the city's pump house could be supplied with water with an extended water main. That's a 12-inch water main that would allow future development and expansion in the area. There is an amount that is 60, there was a change request in the project that would make the total amount $184,000, not the approved $123,000, due to on-site conditions. And this was on a contract awarded to Nick Bogalis from Bogalis Inc. And the Bolton and Minks representative, Andy Brotzler, is here to speak about the change order.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. As Manager Peterson mentioned, there were unfortunately some change conditions during construction. As you may recall, this project was done as a quote package, so it was a little, it's a shorter, more abbreviated process. It's not a full design process like we would do for larger projects where we're doing a full design and preparation of specifications, borings, and such to solicit sealed bids. Given the nature of this project, the timeline that we were trying to achieve with the project, we did elect to move forward with a less formal quote process. As it turns out, as noted in the memo, due to change conditions or unforeseen conditions on site, primarily a lot of large boulders that were encountered by the contractor. They did start out using a trench box and used a trench box throughout the process, but the boulders required them to widen their excavation from what was originally anticipated. That widening in the excavation resulted in the need for more pavement removal and thusly pavement restoration. So the bulk of the cost increase for the project is associated or attributed to that additional pavement restoration that was required. In addition to, I think it was about $11,000 in cost for removal of those large boulders, just as, you know, they're not suitable for backfill on the project site. So I guess I'd stand for any questions or comments you may have about that.
Commissioners, go ahead.
So we had a abbreviated quote process. If we had taken a different process, maybe a different cost associated with that, would a different approach have cost us less money than this overage?
Commissioner, I think to go to the next level of design with a more thorough, with a kind of a more full-blown design and borings, I mean, obviously there's costs associated with doing that geotechnical work. I think, unfortunately, we probably would have found, we would have found the conditions and known those conditions and probably ended up at about the same cost. The alignment of the water main was between existing power poles and the road, and we were trying to minimize as much road impact as we could. So I would not anticipate that the cost would have been any different. It's just we would have been more accurate in the quantities that would have been needed to complete the project, given the subsurface conditions that were present on site.
I'm just trying to make sure that we don't take abbreviated processes if they're gonna cost us more in the long run. I hope this is a one-off.
Yeah, Commissioner, I'll just add to that. I think this, I mean, the collaboration between the city and the utility on this project kind of orchestrated it that way. So we we did at the time, I know Luke had recommended a more thorough process to designing the water line and whatnot. I think if we went back and looked, the numbers were probably at least break even, if not less financially out at this angle. I imagine all of the engineering for that full-blown project would have probably cost us about the same. I don't know that for sure, but I think the numbers were like $250,000, if I'm
Yeah,
not mistaken.
it was quite a bit higher.
Okay,
for
so,
the
I
main.
mean, we got lucky. We didn't, that wasn't because we made a good decision necessarily. We should probably always try to engineer it and design it the right way.
Yeah.
But, so I agree, I echo that, but I think we came out okay on this one, so, yeah.
I just have one question, and is the Mine View in service yet? Do you know is the plumbing running up there? Because we did a big rush to get it done.
I know the line has been all tested and
Okay.
accepted.
Okay.
Whether it's being used or not, I guess I don't know
Okay,
the answer to
alright.
that question.
So we wanted to make sure, I think this was one of the first things that we did this year, is just to get that water line in service. I don't know if it's being used yet.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Stokes, supported by Commissioner Sandsted, to approve that final pay app and change order for $184,074 to Pagalis and Sons. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Andy. All right, item 6D, approve change order for 23rd Street project in the amount not to exceed $125,000. Mr. Peterson?
Thank you, Chair Bayless. Can I ask Paul to approach, please? Mr. Palmbum's doing a very good job overseeing multiple projects this summer, including the steam and gas sides of the 23rd Street project.
Good evening, Chair. Good evening, Commissioners. Before you, we have a change order from Bolton Mink that they have prepared in conjunction with KGM Contractors and HMI Concrete Works that are doing the project out on 23rd Street. It is before you as a not to exceed $125,000. This was done in this way without an exact number because the work is not done and they have not got in there and started pouring the concrete, so they aren't exactly sure how much footage they're gonna need. But we did want to get this before you, as we are well aware that we're coming up on the school season, and one of our main projects is right outside of the school. We did 5 major areas there. The concrete was for the actual steam vaults was in much worse condition than we had expected when we got in there. And of course, every single vault that we dug into was put together by a different contractor. Some of them used for their forming, they used the actual clay sections of to backfill the concrete in, so it would be anywhere from 1 inch thick on the walls up to 4 inches thick. When we did get some of the rain, it actually collapsed some of the tunnels. It doesn't do it justice, but there's pictures on the following page of some of the conditions of the concrete that we have in there now. In the future, we have talked with Bolton Mink on this. When we do concrete work for steam vaults, we're gonna put a portion in there already for saw cutting and restoration as it is. Assuming that when we get in there that it's gonna be this bad, if not worse.
Okay, questions?
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Stokes. Is that support? Support by Commissioner Babbage. We have a motion and a second for approving the change order for $125,000. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. All right, item 6E, reject all bids from PB 25-06 electrical distribution ground line pole inspection. Mr. Peterson.
Thank you, Chair. If you recall, the commission previously authorized going out to bid for the ground line pole inspections, and just due to the big discrepancies between the different vendors, we just recommend that we will rebid this and not accept the bids that we received. So we just want to make sure that our scope is clear enough to get true apples-to-apples comparisons on the bids. So our recommendation is to not take any action to approve that today, but just to reject that and rebid public bid 2506 as a rebid.
Okay, any questions? Looking for a motion?
Motion
Okay.
to, oh, go ahead,
I'll make a motion to reject the bids.
second.
Motion by Commissioner Sandsted, supported by Commissioner Stokes, to reject all the bids for 25-06 electrical distribution ground line pole inspection. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving on, let's see, 7A, Policy and Governance, approve Resolution 25-07, resolution authorizing the issuance and sale of $20 million utility revenue notes, Series 2025. Luke?
Thank you, Commissioner Bayless. Commissioners, ahead of you is the final recommended resolution for approval for the transmission line construction loan, and that is through National Bank of Commerce to have the best available interest rates for the ratepayers of the tax exempt notes that we would be able to use for funding during construction, which the project budget is expected to be $20 million, and we would only pay interest only during the construction period. The proposed draw schedule is put out in front of you, and that is subject to change based on the project schedule as we intended, but this is how we expect it to roll out currently. And the resolution approved, that recommended for approval by bond council, authorizes the chair and vice chair and/or secretary to execute the appropriate documents to close on these notes. And we are very lucky to have a local bank that's able to basically help us construct this loan while we develop the long-term capital structure for it following its full completion, which we expect in June of 2027.
Okay, commissioners? Any questions? Okay. Luke, it was nice to have NBC with us at the working session. I'm curious, just can you give a little bit of insight on the ideal payback solution for the actual debt itself? I know we had talked about it and touched on it, but I don't know that it's been said in a meeting in public. If you could elaborate on that.
Yeah, that's right. So, Commissioners, right now before you is the construction loan that would turn into a 20-year amortization loan, which would just basically have principal and interest for 20 years following the construction period. That was, but it does allow us flexibility after we build this, depending on how we decide, how the commission decides to have this line permanently owned, if we go in with a partner, or if we own it ourselves and have it socialized within MISO. Those are two different scenarios, but either way, the MISO grid is intended to be paying back the debt service on the project, as well as any return on the equity investment that we have put of HPUC's own equity capital in there. So the intention of all of this is to actually be neutral to the ratepayers, so that they are not paying for this asset that is benefiting the grid. And so we have a lot of work to do that, both on the regulatory front and the construction side, that we're doing all at the same time. But in order to build the asset, this is the recommended construction loan that we intend.
Okay. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. I think the message that I was hoping we would get out, and you did, is we're not planning on building this on the backs of the ratepayers themselves. We have some other revenue sources that are planned to make this work and make it affordable for Hibbing. So thank you.
Absolutely, Chair. And I will also mention we have our AFUDC policy, and unless you are a utility accounting geek and you've been paying attention to our meeting minutes, but a couple months ago we approved the allowance for funds used during construction, which is able to basically have the utility ratepayers have a profit from the funds that they've already deployed in this. And so we've been acting on that policy, and we're following all Federal Energy Regulatory Commission accounting policies with all that. So this is a small step. I think it was, according to Tammy, $4,000 of interest in the month of July. So we're building smaller, but there hasn't been a lot of funds deployed yet. That number will increase as the project moves along.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. All right, looking for a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Sandsted, supported by Commissioner Hart, Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, let the record show that I abstained.
Okay. We did only have one opposed, right? Okay. Okay. All right, moving on to new business, and Andy, I did have one other thing that I forgot to add at the beginning of the meeting, but it was just scheduling of another meeting. Can I slip that in here too?
Yeah,
Okay.
as long as the commissioners are good with that.
Okay, as long as nobody opposes, so maybe they will, because it's another meeting, but we'll see. So we'll go with, what would be item 8A, appointing a new commission secretary. Commissioner Babich has some professional reasons why he would prefer not to be in the secretary function, signing off on bonds of this nature. So out of respect for him personally, I'd like to offer up anybody that wanted to volunteer for that position. Otherwise, we can just choose one also.
Right.
So if anybody wants to go ahead and offer to be the secretary for the commission, at least until the end of this term, and then we could reorganize and appoint a new one in March, correct? So we would be looking for either a volunteer, or I can throw a name out.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter? Okay. I mean, we only have
And you
two.
want it?
Yeah, I mean, if either Commissioner Hart or Commissioner Stokes want to
Your
do that
recommendation
function.
would be fine with me, Commissioner Bayless.
What do you say?
He said my recommendation would be fine. Let's see. I think just out of ease of access, maybe we'll do Commissioner Hart, if you're okay with that?
That's fine.
Okay. Okay, so I'll make a motion to appoint Commissioner Hart as the commission secretary,
Second.
supported by Commissioner Stokes. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We don't need to take any action officially for him to step down, do we, as the secretary?
No, because I think you just replaced him and he's acknowledged that.
Perfect, thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Hart and Commissioner Stokes, I appreciate that. All right, so what would be item 8B, bringing up the opportunity to schedule a special session or just another session, which, I don't know, Julie, do you want to elaborate on the session format itself, or we just essentially want to do a closed session for general manager review, I think is what the request is, right?
Yep.
Okay. So we need to schedule a meeting just to follow up. We did a general manager review roughly a month ago. We did say in that meeting that we wanted to do more of those anyway, so we're gonna do a follow-up general manager review. So I'd be looking for a collaborative date that fits for everybody for us to do just a meeting. Essentially, we could just do a one-off with just that closed session, or we could put it into other topics, but I think it's more of a sooner than later, and I think Mr. Peterson has a conflict with the original suggestion of next week. So I think maybe his earliest availability would be early the following week, correct?
That's correct. Either like Monday or the 25th or 27th. I'm sorry, the 25th or the 25th, 26th, or 28th,
Okay.
if any of those.
Anytime after 3:30 for me on those days would work.
Okay. That work? Commissioner Hart, do you have any issues with any of those dates? Okay. Commissioner Stokes? Okay.
Is this just a more of a discussion versus we're not filling out, or are we filling out packets?
No, we're not doing the formal review process like we did before with the scoring. We're just doing as far as I know, it's just a conversation review, maybe some expectation setting through our conversations.
Absolutely, and so I think this is just continuing on with the intent of the annual review, I think, was to have more frequent check-ins and
Yep.
kind of develop some shared plans about that, so.
Okay, so should we just take the first available since nobody has any conflicts, it sounds like? Do the 25th?
Sure.
Okay, Andy, does that work for you?
Yeah.
Okay. Do same time, same place, 5 o'clock? Is there a HEDA meeting that night?
There shouldn't be, I think they only have they had one last night, so.
Okay, and we're closed session anyway, so we could go in
Right,
any one of
yes,
those rooms,
right.
okay. Perfect, 5 o'clock on August 25th,
Sounds good.
okay. Awesome. Do we need a motion for that, Andy?
No, you just set the time and the date. You just
Perfect.
need to have Elliot post it as a special meeting of the commission at that time.
Okay, thank you. We will not, no. Thank you, Ron. Okay, anything else about that? Good deal. Anything for old business?
Would this, mentioning about the HRB old business, the new HR person?
I mean, do you want to say something?
Yeah, and I'm just not sure if I was supposed to put an ad, but I mean, personally, I would like for us to start exploring making her not an intern, but our permanent HR.
Okay.
So I don't know if we have to make a motion to start discussing with how to buy her out of the contract, as we spoke in the working session, but I'd like to see it moving forward that she's not interim, she's permanent.
Okay, well, I think we have to have some discussions around that with her too, and kind of see how the interim piece plays out. But Andy, do you have any advice on how to explore that?
I haven't thought about it that much. I know Commissioner Babbage did bring it up, and there was discussions you involved with regard to the contract with Robert Half and how that works. If it's the consensus of the commission under Commissioner Babbage's idea, then maybe the motion should be to research the buying out or the placing that individual into a permanent position. And maybe I could get back to the commission and Luke as to the numbers or what process you'd need to do if that, and how that might impact the commission or not, and maybe report back at your first meeting in September,
Okay.
your working session then, and then maybe you could, knowing the numbers maybe a little bit better, then take action, your action meeting in September, if in fact the commission wanted to go in that direction.
Sure.
And that was my recollection from the working session, that we realized that it was kind of a numbers game, because either way, going through the headhunting company or whatever, they were gonna recoup their money, and there was possibly a break-even point or
Right.
something that gave us time to kind of make sure it was a good fit, and she had time to make sure it was a good fit, and so I do think that we need to look at how those numbers play out, but I think it's all of our intent that we are looking forward and trying to move to a permanency, and whether or not that's what she's looking for. I mean, she's only been here a couple of days.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like, we just have to kind of get our feet wet here, but I think it's more we need to understand the break-even point. So Andy, if you can help with that, that would be great.
Yeah, I mean,
So if you want to, if Commissioner Babbage wants to make that a motion to investigate and report back on the, making the interim HR person a permanent position, get a second, and then we could at least discuss it. I have a chance to maybe give you a memo or something before your working session in September. And then I could report back before that to the commissioners as to doing the numbers, what I found anyway, if there's a concern.
So this is more information gathering. The motion and stuff is just like what it would look like with the process is to move to permanency.
Commissioner Babbage, I think I heard him say he'd like to make this person the permanent person, and I think it's just to get information back to the commission, at least from my perspective, as to how those numbers play out, if that's a good.
I wanna see the numbers to both making her permanent, because I feel that the interim can be an obstacle for her. And it would be nice if she was just permanent.
okay. Well, I think that'll take some conversation with her as well, because
Right.
we hired her under the understanding, and she understood it was an interim role, so we have to make sure that she knows what she wants
I
as
just
well,
want
yeah.
people in this room to realize that,
Yep.
you know,
I'll
I
take
feel
a
that
motion.
there was stuff going on. I'm not gonna get into it.
Okay,
Make
all
a
right.
motion.
Yeah, you can make a motion if you'd like.
So I make a motion to find out, for Andy to take some time and find out, kind of give us some numbers on when and where it crosses for us to possibly hire full-time.
And I'll support.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Babbage, supported by Commissioner Sandstead. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Any other old business? Okay, hearing none, I'll be looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Stokes, supported by Commissioner Sandsted. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.